How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Wait, is that the same music as last week?
I don't
No.
know. I don't.
Okay, so we're just doing different music each week.
Period.
Okay.
Whatever YouTube will allow, I'll do.
Yeah, no copyrights. How are you?
I am doing well. I was actually looking for a poll that you sent. If you type it in the private chat or something, I can like create the poll. But I am doing well. A tad bit weak as I'm on my detox again.
What kind of
But,
detox?
huh?
What kind of
I
detox?
said I would never say it online because I don't. As an influencer.
Oh, understandable. I used to do raw detoxes or whatever, like just raw foods for like 5 days a month, every month. And then I stopped. But I need to get back on that in a few months.
Yeah, yeah. Anything new as we get into this?
Um, New. Nothing I'd like to discuss on air, but life is going pretty good, you know?
Good, 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 good,
Yeah.
good.
I'll put that question in the back chat.
um, so there's a lot going on in the news. Tina Turner passed away. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, I
Yeah,
saw that. That
that
is
made me really sad. Like today, so I was walking out of the building and the security person was like, "Oh, hey, you know Tina Turner died." And I was like, "First of all, why did you do it like that? Like you just shouted it at me." And so it's like
that
I
was
don't
how
know
you
what.
initially found out?
Yeah, I still haven't looked it up. Like I looked in my Discord and then I saw it and then I saw it on Shade One. So I posted the picture because
Mm.
it was confirmed. But I don't even know what happened. Like I have no clue what happened because it was just like yikes. Like that, I don't know. That was sad.
I know,
That
and
was
even though I think she was what, 83, um,
hmm
I was like, man, she was so young. I mean, I know that's not that young, but nowadays people live, are living longer. So I was still very shocked. It's not like she was so old that I was like, okay, old age. So when I heard about that, I was really shocked. And
yeah.
that's she's such an icon.
Christian, welcome to the membership. Yes, the RIP. I just don't know what else is gonna come out or like why or so I don't know. It's just really, really, really sad. You
Yeah.
said you put the thing in the back chat.
Oh, I was talking. I'm typing it right now.
As it really so the thing is I wasn't like obviously I grew up with Tina Turner, right? And like if you're a fan of Beyonce, then like you know the prototype, right? Like you know where Beyonce's
Yeah.
influences come from. Um, and I wonder if Beyonce is gonna come off tour to do a tribute, or like I'm just wondering what's gonna happen because like I didn't even know she was like 80. Like I didn't know that. Like she looked every bit of like 55.
I know.
Like
I know. I just when I was looking it up, I saw that she was 80 something, 83, I think, and I was like, "What?" Cuz she definitely exudes a much younger. She seems much younger than that.
yeah. I don't know why. Like it's just like sad. Like in a way where like I don't. It's not like I don't know. Like she's not always at the front of my mind. So
Mhm.
like you know how you think because some you don't always talk about someone or think about someone. Like if they pass, you won't know or you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
know, and it's very much like in the forefront of my mind, and it's actually really like it's yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's really really sad. But we will move on. I wish there was like a sort of dedication to her, and I hope that these award shows and like the music industry really come together and put something really good on for her in sort of remembrance of her legacy and how just like a titan she was in the music industry. Because period.
Yeah, I'm sure in the weeks to come there will be lots of that type of stuff.
Yeah, she like watching the movie, which I'm probably gonna watch this weekend.
Mhm.
It's just like seeing how she struggled and the kind of abuse she went through. It's really, I don't know. I think her life is an inspiration even outside of music, right? Like she came and stood up to someone who was is an inspiration even outside of music. To people, and I really, I don't know. I can appreciate her story, and I'm glad it was told while she was here, and she absolutely embodied what it means to be a true icon. So that's just that on that. Like, period.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, we do have a poll, and I'm gonna put the poll up, and then we are going to.
Oh, from the tweet or whatever that
Oh,
was.
you said the poll you just put up gave me.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's so
It seemed I I think that it's going to be like 100 to 0. Like 100% of the answers will be one way, but I might be completely wrong. We'll see.
no. All right. So I thought it would be an easy transition, but it's like not that easy a transition to leave from that to where we're gonna go. So I'll let you take the lead on. Um, let's start with the color purple.
Okay. So, just first, how do you feel about The Color Purple? Have you read the
Wait,
book
wait,
or
wait.
not?
I can't hear Thema. Drop a one if you can hear me. I'm checking my audio setting. It should be fine.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So, Color Purple, how do you feel about that book, the movie, the original one? Like, do you like it? Do you hate it? What?
So I didn't like the color purple.
Why not?
I I didn't like it. I didn't like the story. I don't like struggle story, and I've never liked struggle stories. Obviously, it's one of triumph, but it just felt odd. But it was also a rude awakening for me, insofar as realizing that maybe not in the same way, but a lot of this happens um, in the black community, for example, and grappling with the reality of like tremendous. I didn't plan this, but like abuse. We were just talking about Tina Turner, and just like what people go through, not just women but children, um, and what it means to be a part of a community that engages in this kind of behavior. So I didn't like the story because it was really depressing, but I think it paints a really good picture for people who might not want to investigate more about what is happening in their communities.
Yeah, I saw the movie way before I read the book. I didn't read the book until like a gender women's studies
Still
class. And
haven't read the book.
the book, I mean, there are just some more details and things like that, but it's a pretty good, like if you've seen the movie, it's not like you're going to read the book and be like, "Oh my goodness." Like there's some things that are different, but it's not totally different. But you know, it's definitely a depressing story. It's definitely really sad and traumatic. But I like that movie. I like the book. I think that, it has its place, right? Um, and Oprah's coming out with like another rendition of it that's supposed to be out, I think, around Christmas time.
Oh, girl. All right. So, yes, I know about this with Holly.
Yes.
Girl, the
And
people,
a few other people. Like there's a few people in there. It
I
looks
only
like
know Holly and Fantasia.
I think what's her name? The girl from Orange is the New Black is gonna
Oh,
be in there. I think she's gonna play Oprah, I think. But yeah,
oh.
she's coming out with that one. It's coming out in December. So I've been seeing people like on Facebook and stuff making some comments about it, like, why are we retelling this story? There are no positive representations of black men in the movie, blah blah blah, that type of thing. And I'm just like thinking about it, like, okay, don't get me wrong, that movie does not have positive like representations of black men, really, it doesn't. But there are so many movies that don't have positive representations of black men that many people love and stand behind and celebrate and glorify. But then when it's like someone's story that's traumatic, and the trauma is at the hands of a Black man, it's like, why are we talking about this? Now, of course, everyone doesn't feel that way, but I just find that interesting.
Someone, you won't be able to read this, but it says, yeah, you can't read that.
I can.
Um,
I can. It says, looks around. Instead of asking why the color purple offends men, perhaps we should ask why it resonates with so many Black women.
is that the vibe you get?
Yes. Like, I mean, from people online, let me say it that way. Like, it's not like I've had this conversation with a bunch of people in real life that are like, oh, I'm so offended. But I've seen multiple times, even before this, like the Oprah, the new one, like started being talked about. I have absolutely seen people talking about how that movie is like an attack on Black men. I wouldn't, I mean, do you feel like that movie is like specifically an attack on Black men?
Welfare was an attack. Look, everything took. I'm trying to be nice because I'm not in the best of mood, and I feel like strays shouldn't be sent out. So let me try to put on a more theoretical cap.
Were you about to go list all the
Look,
attacks?
a random man wearing a dress is an attack on black men. Like I just don't know everything. Like representation matters. I understand that. It is important that we see images that helps us to be our best selves. It is
Yeah,
why we see superheroes and we try to be like them. It is better for communities. Like I get all of that. But also, it is important that when we are talking that we're being honest. We don't always have to be honest. Fiction doesn't require honesty always, but it requires, at least for me, some truth, right? And when you ground a piece of art, movie in truth, I can deal with it even if I don't particularly like the storyline. The
yeah,
truth of the matter is what this tweet says. A lot of women, black women in particular, recognize and sees themselves in the characters on screen when it comes to the color purple. Kevin Samuels actually had this thing where he was like, oh, the color purpling of the black community. And as I hear him talk about it, there is an attempt to rewrite the experiences of women in the community and say, this did not happen. These things do not happen to women. And I find that hugely problematic. I think the reason why so many women resonate with the color purple and it's so emotional for a lot of women is because they've experienced something like that. And until we recognize that, I think we need to keep showing it. Like I think we need to keep remaking it until we can admit, yeah, this happens. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I don't. Again, like I think my biggest point of confusion about this is there are many like negative representations of Black men, Black women in the media. Like we know this in movies, shows, wherever. um and it's just very strange to that some people are like, this is where we draw the line, not like glorifying any of the other detrimental things that can be portrayed, but it's like this one is the one that's too far. I don't i don't understand why.
The feminist writers, when they were talking about black femicide, pointed out that for us to look internally and to start dissecting things that happen within our communities, it's hard to do because we have to point the finger. And pointing the finger puts black men in the hot seat, essentially. We are now in the hot seat. And it's interesting because one would think that the when we think about the quote unquote good black men, like I don't know, the pastor who came on here and said that people lied about him abusing them. Um, when we think about the good people who know of the issues in the community, for them to like completely ignore the movie and for them to ignore the ways in which women are being abused, yeah, no, you're not good. You're complicit. Like,
I like love Latoya, $20, thank you. Said, but also isn't this the time that black men say they want to go back to when black women stayed home and took care of their children though? And when people talk about like going back to a certain time, it's hard to like not think about how society was and how black people were being treated during those certain times that people allegedly want to go back to. Like it, yeah. So her question, absolutely. I mean, when is this time that people are talking about?
not only when is this time, which is a great question, I think. I was talking on the Discord, girl, these Discord calls. Last night they had me up till like whatever. Let me leave the Discord alone. But we were talking and the concept of the good man came up, and I think it was a tweet or something, and one of the young ladies on the Discord said that good men benefit from bad men being bad, right? And so the idea is that good men are going to cover up because if you meet the bare minimum standard, if all the standard is lower, you just doing the bare minimum means that you're good, right? And you don't have to work as hard. And so watching The Color Purple and putting all of this on Front Street is going to require people, not, it's not going to, but it should require that men introspect a little bit about their place as being good and what it means for them to sort of protect the people around them. And I
Yeah,
don't think a lot of people want to do that kind of work. Like I don't I think we are confronted with our shadows, our collective shadows. And
hmm,
there is, I think, like, I don't want to get into philosophy and morality because we had a whole discussion about this last night, but I think there is an into moral intuition when we know something. Not only do we know it's bad, we also know it's happening. And so the moral intuition about what is right and what is wrong, seeing it on screen tells you that you now need to do something about it. So I think people would rather not see it at all and not have to engage with it
yeah,
because in their mind they can pretend like it's not happening. And
yeah,
that's my problem.
yeah. If you, because then you can just um talk about whatever these positive times and these positive experiences, not saying that that's just all that people do, because of course people do talk about the negative things as well, but I think just when it comes to like black women sharing stories, whether it be like a fictional story or a non-fictional story, um a lot of people can get uncomfortable with that, and I think that that all like goes back to the way a lot of black women are kind of boxed into this like strong, you should be ride or die, you shouldn't complain, you should deal with it, you should put up with whatever, all of that type of thing. So when black women are telling like a sad story or a traumatic story, I think that it makes some people very uncomfortable. And even just telling that story feels like, to some people, an attack on an entire community. But it's like, is it an attack on the entire community, or is it a story that resonates with many women or some women?
And it's not just a story the fact that so many women are affected by it in a meaningful way says something about the state of womanhood. And I also, you were talking about this just now, I also think there is something fundamentally problematic about the unwillingness to allow space for certain kinds of people, black women in particular, to be vulnerable. It If you
Yeah.
are vulnerable and in need of protection, the question becomes, why aren't you protected and who should be protecting you? If
Mhm.
those two questions come up, again, we are going to have to point around. Now, if you're a feminist, it's not just men. If you believe in patriarchy, then it is men. The individual agency in the way that we think about it, maybe it's you and we've failed. But at some point, the idea around accountability comes up, and who should be accountable for what behaviors uh, is front and center. And I feel like this is such a problem because we've seen it with a lot of other shows, but with this particular outrage and calling it the color purpling of the Black community and people making affirmative claim before they're passing about how they did not see abuse and abuse didn't happen in the Black community, and the only time abuse happened in the Black community was from men, from women to men. Now, if I may, thank you, Giggles, for your super sticker. I was sent a message that I am a huge liar and that um, Kevin Samuels never said Black women are the least attractive and they're becoming masculine. So
Do you
this
have
is
the clip?
yeah, oh, this is a 2 second audio. I'm
Yeah.
going to play this audio because I'm not even going to comment on it. I'm just going to play it for the people who didn't know it exists because I know they're watching. So here you go. Because I didn't play it when we were talking. It wasn't because I didn't have it, it's because I didn't want to embarrass you. Because you literally didn't know anything.
Subjective. That's
No,
why
it's
we
not. It's
that's why we
objective,
have
brother.
that's why we have the golden ratio, the
That's right.
Fibonacci equation.
That's
You
right.
can look at
That's
facial
right.
symmetry and see that
That's right.
beautiful people, you can map their facial structure, and it goes to a mathematical calculation.
Oh yeah.
Beauty is universal. And the
Yep.
thing is, we're talking about Black women, they are on the opposite end of the spectrum on all ranks. Facial symmetry, even to the way to Black women are starting to look more masculine.
All right. So hopefully we can, if you want the context, by the way, because we always hear, sorry, I really do need to do this because I don't like people in my inbox or messages calling me a liar. So to everyone who is in my inbox, please get out. You are going to be blocked. I have not started blocking people. I am going to start now. The context was that the interviewer asked Kevin Samuels, does he think beauty is subjective? Because he thinks beauty is subjective and it differs from person to person. And Kevin Samuels, in response to that, said, I don't think, no, not I don't think, he said beauty is objective and you can map it by using the geometry of one's face, right?
Yeah, the
um,
golden ratio.
yes, and in so doing he says Black women are on the opposite end due to symmetry, well, asymmetry in this way. And then he added they are also becoming more masculine. Now, do with that what you will, but please don't get out of my inbox. Please. Thank you. I don't care about a person going live talking about like apologies. I had to do that because I don't like being called a liar. I am a lot of things, but a liar is not one of them.
No problem. I definitely understand you setting that straight for whoever thought that you were just making it up. Like, why would you make it up? Like, what good would that do for
Well,
you
they're
to,
gonna say it's chat GPT.
oh, some AI?
In any case, chocolate bubblegum, welcome to the membership. We have some more super chats. We can read them and then continue. To well said, Themis, you know they love to dodge accountability. Black men praising the past gives Make America Great. Oh, it does. It does give Make America Great Again. And the final one, drag. All right. So back to The Color Purple. I'm assuming you like the show, the movie.
Yeah, I liked the movie. I liked the book. And I'm probably not going to go see the new one. Like, just because I'm just probably not going to go see it. But
Wait, why not?
I'm not a big movie goer. Like maybe if
Oh,
it comes out on something where I can watch it at home, but
wait. So
uh
you're not going to see the Little Mermaid?
no.
Oh, that's
I
sad.
mean, I don't know. I'm not too into going to the movies, but I know that's very strange, but it's just not really my thing these days. But yeah, if it comes out somewhere where I can watch it somewhere else, then I absolutely will. Um, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a good book, The Color Purple. And just the things that I see some people, I'm sure it's a very small segment of Facebook or wherever I saw it, but the things I see them like complaining about and like saying that Oprah, have you ever heard that Oprah like hates black men? Have you heard people say that?
I've heard that. I don't know why people say that.
I
I
don't either.
honestly don't know. Every time I have a debate with someone, they bring up Oprah hates black men, and
That's what, yes, I've heard it many times. And actually today on my Facebook page, like I asked someone, so why do you think she has an agenda against black men? And they brought up how she wouldn't let certain rappers come on her show, and I was like, okay, like does this mean she has an agenda?
actually, that sounds like she loves black men if she's preventing the rappers from coming on there. Like, I feel like that's a good thing if
And
we're talking about image.
they talked about the Michael Jackson, the Neverland documentary or whatever that she, I don't know, I guess.
No, they've been saying it before. Am I the only one who don't like the color purple? I don't like it either.
Yeah, I think a lot
Um,
of people don't like it. And it's fine if people don't like it. I mean, you don't have to people don't have to like everything. I just think some of the reasons like thinking that it's an attack on the black men in the community like as a whole, I think that that's not I don't think that makes sense.
yeah.
Um
Can we read that?
Love Latoya, $10. Thank you.
Thank
They,
you.
they were marrying little girls. Um, I know they still wait.
Wanted,
They were marrying little
wanted.
girls. I know they, or is that I know? Oh, like they still want to do. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. When are we
When
going
we
to talk about
Go
these
ahead.
women? Who are these? Who are SBM? Who speak of who should know better? Who are SBM?
Don't know.
Oh, I thought that was one of the acronyms that I just don't know yet.
Oh, I don't know what that is. I thought it was, yeah. Um, I'm pretty sure that black men is included there. But apparently people love the color purple and some people don't like the color purple. But as we're on the color purple and this idea of abuse, let's get to Danaya Jackson because I saw that Sinji was alive today. I did not get to watch her video. I clicked on it and clicked to the end because apparently that's where she was talking about. Um, wait, do you want to? Were we doing something with the poll?
Yeah, because people are probably like, why? So there, do you have that tweet or whatever it was?
Mm-hmm.
And this is just something I was curious about because my answer was immediately like, what? So this lady says, my daughter made a new friend at the playground. I asked the dad if we can plan a play date. He's like, okay, I'll give your number to my wife and you can ask her. I don't know why that was weird to me. Aren't you her parent too? Men who have to ask their wives first bug me. Like
Wait, I don't trust this woman.
immediately, like what?
I don't trust this woman.
That's why I said like in the beginning, I know we started talking about color purple, but in regards to that poll, I just thought probably like most people will say that the men should absolutely ask their wives, right? To
Yeah,
go on a play date with a single woman and her kid. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Why would you think that was weird for someone to
because
come
she was trying to flirt, and that was supposed to be her moment. And the man respected his marriage or relationship enough to say, "Yeah, ma'am, I appreciate that, but you are not going to ask me and get me caught up in some foolishness. I'm going to ask my wife, and I appreciate that." She was mad. That is absolutely not okay.
I wonder if there's anyone who thinks that he shouldn't have had to, or that he shouldn't have said anything to his wife.
Single black mothers. Oh, single black mom.
Oh,
Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
see, we were totally
Demas, I love you, but you still owe us a clip. It's a Singy clip. I will put it out. I promise I will put that clip out in the next 5 years. All right. So let's
so that goes right into what we're about to talk about in terms of respecting your or how you should respect your wife, right?
no, that's not well, that should be your take if that's how you are taking it, how you should respect your wife. I am
You
so
should.
mad because I wanted to watch what Sinji said because I didn't want I feel like her. Well, let me not speak for her, but like I don't like stepping on people's toes. You know, when content creators make the content about the same thing, I like to either not watch or watch it so that I can look at it from a different angle. But I didn't get to watch it because I was working. But here we are, and this is now mine. Um, with all the hoopla about marriage, and I am for marriage. Let me be clear. I am very pro marriage. I think marriage is great. It is beautiful. It's amazing. But like that you are married means absolutely nothing to me. Like it
Why do you say
means
that?
absolutely nothing to me. If you're talking about your relationship and the fact that you expect me to give you more respect because you're in a relation, no, I respect everyone equally. It's
Oh,
horrendous to me that people think marriage somehow means that they are better than other people. And I don't understand why. I've seen it intensified online where like people um he dropped another video with Danaya saying she would pass his mistresses in the. Oh, I thought we watched some of that today. I do have some clips. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm gonna play it. I don't care.
yeah.
So here's the thing. Welcome, Sinji. Thank you for being here. I missed your live, but I was working and I saw it and I was like, oh my god. Um, Welcome, warmest of welcomes. If you're in a marriage and your partner is operating as if he's single or even she's single, if people are operating like they're single, why are you in a marriage? Like I don't understand this.
I agree with you about the whole like being married is not, to me it doesn't give you more respect just as a human. Like, oh, there's this single person and there's this married person, I'm going to respect the married one more. Like, no, that doesn't make sense to me. Um and I always think it's funny when people are like, you can tell if someone is a wife. Like, I'm talking about unmarried people. Have you ever
Yeah,
heard people
yeah.
call people
Like
like wives and they're not married? She's such a wife. Like, no one that's not married is a wife. Like, let's just stop. um, and that's okay, but like just equating the word wife to like a certain type of
a
people
characteristic and like
when
every
literally any person can be a wife or a husband. You can be horrible, you can be great. Like, any person could be a
I'm
wife.
convinced people are just getting married to get married. Like
And
I,
that's why it's been part of like the, I don't want to say programming, but it's been part of like the steps that you're quote unquote supposed to take for so long, that and that's why divorce rates are so high, because people just feel like they all need to be married. So a lot of people end up getting divorced. The thing is, I'm very, very, very pro marriage as well. Absolutely pro marriage. But if someone does not want to get married, or if someone is not married, that is absolutely fine, and that should be okay. Like, it doesn't have to be the goal for every single person.
yeah, but not only that, like so anecdotally, there is this woman that I know. She's a superstar attorney doing great things. Her family keeps one woman in particular keep telling her, when are you going to get married, when are you going to get married? And it's like, okay, you married to her to her aunts, y'all are all married, and y'all have to come to me for money. Y'all cry to me, her, about the man cheating and having families in different countries, right? Y'all crying to me about that, but y'all have the audacity to come tell me to come get married. Like, where do they do that? Who does that? And as she's telling this to me, I can tell she does not want to get married. I can tell she does not feel like she should be settling down. And there is a part of me that I have to watch because, like, she said she wanted to adopt children and she doesn't think she needs a man. This woman can pay for her whole life, like, whatever, right?
Mm.
But it's interesting because every time she goes to a family function, they're all like on her neck about getting married and starting a family. And it's like, well, she probably can't even start a family because y'all need, she has to take care of y'all, you and your families. Like, both aunts are like not doing much and their husbands aren't doing anything. If they're not doing much, their husbands are just couch potatoes. And she has to take care of them financially. Like, you don't have the right. You
And they're
literally
trying to
don't have.
encourage her to get married. They're like, "Why aren't you married?"
No, like, they're like shaming her. Like, it is weird to be like 30 not married in our culture. It's like, it's weird to be married and sorry.
I think that I think that like there's this thing where it's normalized, quote unquote normalized, I don't know, for people to be miserable in their marriages. Like it's become a joke. Like it's like a trope that is all over the place, right? Like the husband who calls her the ball and chain and the he dreads coming home from work, and then the wife who thinks her husband is dumb, and like all these things we've seen, like these tropes, right? And the fact that is just like, I don't know, a normalized view in terms of just like media and stuff. I'm not saying necessarily that this is how everyone feels, but I think that like a lot of people have come to terms that, oh, you're not going to be necessarily happy, or you're not going to be this or that when you're married. But also, I mean, I know you're not going to always be happy when you're married. Like that's not you're not going to always be happy anytime. But I think that just like expecting to not have like a better, happier, easier life in a
Girl,
marriage,
people say marriage is hard. I'm like, okay, cool, you can keep it. Like,
that I mean,
so I love Michelle Obama. I really do. I promise I love Michelle Obama. But Michelle was out here
oh,
talking about,
I saw
I,
that.
I went 10 years without loving, and y'all need to know how to compromise, and blah, 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 blah. No.
10 years is a long time.
Look, period.
um,
I
I
don't give advice, but
like,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
10 years is a long time to be in that situation, but I'm glad everything worked out for them.
Period. Themis, it's really cute how you said that, but how did he say it? Imagine that coming from a degenerate, self centered man. Maybe there is an implication that she's trying to use her child to get. So I don't actually, if the man is degenerate and self centered, sure, but there is absolutely no reason you should be, as a woman, tweeting out upset that a man has to go to his wife because you wanted to have a play date with your child and his child. No, you're out of. She's out of line. She's out of line.
I
That
agree.
man said, "Ask my wife." You should have been like, "Whoop," and left. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Or
I could be wrong.
if she really wanted the kids, like if they were at the park and she really wanted the kids to,
Then
form,
call the wife
then call
and
the
say,
wife.
"Hey, wife, you
Yeah,
and I can go out with our children." Like,
yeah.
why are you so upset that the husband can't go or had to go? To his wife? No. And
Ah,
look, she could be innocent in this, but it's her tweet that I'm going by. Her tweet said she is upset that he has to go to his wife before he can go on a date with her with the children. Absolutely not.
yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I just wish we could be realistic and honest when it comes to black marriages. I think that, well, the funny thing is, I don't actually specifically care about black marriages. Well, I do, but I do care about like character generally. And a lot of the time, in the way that we think about fathers, we're like, you need a man in the home. I'm like, wait, wait, wait. No, 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 no. We don't need just any little old man in the home. I think we need good men in the homes. It's not just a man. Like I'm not about to be okay with Tia raising my child. You know what I mean? Like, or a child. Eh, it is what it is. But I do take what you mean because statistically, marriage don't look that great, particularly for black women. This is what I don't like with stats, because when you say it, it sounds really, really bad. But the stats as it relates to black men and black women peering up, it's always like black women date down, black women date down, black women date down. And I wonder, because the reality is, I don't think I know this for a fact. So, University of Austin put out an article citing to a bunch of studies, highlighting hi, how when it comes particularly to like black women and their coupling, how it's hard for them to find men who are making $100,000 who want to marry, because black men who make 100,000, the threshold was $100,000, where black men are no longer interested in marrying generally. So black men from 40,000 to 60,000 are very interested in getting married, but when you cross the 100,000 threshold, they're like, no, I don't want to get married. And so it puts black women in an interesting predicament in terms of seeking men with resource. But yeah, I think I'm going to go over that study again. We went over it before, but I think I need to go over it again. Let's continue reading these.
Love Latoya, $5. These men are so carnal they can't even recognize when what's good for them spiritually and naturally is in their best interest.
Yeah.
Gia Homed, $9.99. The disrespect. I'm convinced he was trying to goad her into doing something to gain an advantage in a divorce/custody case. A true narcissist, I guess. I'm glad she's speaking out against the cult of marriage.
But not only that, when we talk about Danaya, her story in the second video, in the video that was just dropped, she's telling us that like when she was 19, she went through a very traumatic experience that shapes her, how she relates to men, um, and how she never told anyone about this. And then a couple weeks later, she met Derek and they started dating. And in their dating, it was really quick. And she likened herself to the ugly duckling who gets the jock on campus. And so she she saw everyone kind of hating on her, and then it was always like off and on, which I interpret as whenever he wanted to cheat, it was off. And then he came back and it was on. She even made up a fake relationship with a guy to get his attention so that he would think she was like in another relationship. And as she's telling the stories about sort of how she was trying to navigate the relationship and make herself better and change and make him sandwiches and trying to be submissive and godly and give and give and give. And I realized she wasn't getting anything in return but access to a man that was seen as like handsome to people and charismatic in her mind, and the quintessential jock. And I wonder if this is a stretch, but not really. I wonder if he saw her as easy target. And I'll get into that in a moment. Let's read the super chats, and then we'll get into some videos, because my heart goes out to Danaya. I don't think she has healed yet. I don't think anyone just wake up and heal. Obviously, it's a process. And I do hope one day she is over this and she becomes better for it. I don't know how to make that happen because I don't have that kind of power, but I do wish I do wish her the best, and I do wish she like comes out of this triumphant in relation to him. Like
He's pretty much the only like they got together when they were really young, right? And grew up together.
19.
19, yeah. So at this point, like that's her. I don't want to say only because I don't know, but like her only serious relationship, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope she heals as well, and I hope she has the support and gets the support that she needs.
I mean, we're gonna get into some of these videos because, like, as she's talking, like I've heard like stories like this of like going like like going and like searching through people's phones and watching this, and the fact that he videotapes himself with these women and she watches and she internalized all of this. Because here's the thing about accountability: if you're not the one doing harm, there's nothing to be accountable for. So you're just blaming yourself for things that are outside of your control. There is no more beautiful you could be. There is no more amazing you could be to keep him, right? He is going to do what he's going to do. And it's sad that she internalizes so much of what he did and tried to change herself in an effort to make him want her. That made me so mad. Like watching her do this, I was like, I am so sorry. Because it's the character that, in my mind, it is that specific thing about people that makes them successful and positive contributors to society. The ability to take ownership of your reality and try to make it better is a good trait. And the fact that it's being bastardized and weaponized against her is so fundamentally wrong. Like it is so bad that the thing about a good person, in my mind, I don't know this woman, but
Yeah,
what seems to be a good person who is like taking ownership of what is happening and trying to be better is being weaponized by someone who seemingly don't care about her. That is like that's sad. Anyway, let's read
yeah.
the super chats and get into this.
Cynthia G, $5. Marriage is hard. Marriage takes a lot of work. Marriage isn't for the faint of heart, but we need more marriages. Why, Sway?
I look, relationships should be easy. I don't know. Uh, period. Like I don't mean like hard stuff doesn't happen, but the relationship itself should be easy. The point
It,
that
I think that when people say, like, I agree that it shouldn't be like the relationship itself shouldn't be like the hard part. It's more so you go through things together that may be challenging, right? Maybe somebody loses their job, maybe I don't know, someone gets sick or whatever the case may be. Or maybe you're just not seeing eye to eye at the time and you have to get through that because you know you're a family, you're married, whatever. But like the essence like of the relationship
I
itself.
feel like when people say marriage is hard, they mean the man is gonna cheat. That like I promise you, every single time I hear marriage is hard, I feel like they're saying you're gonna have to learn to stick through this. But
See, it shouldn't that shouldn't be to me that shouldn't be the thing. Like just loyalty and respect for each other and things like that in your marriage. I think those should be like baseline. Um and then the other things that are hard of course are going to happen. Um or like I said, people grow and change in marriages, in relationships, in friendships, in families, in any type of relationship with others. People grow and change. So those are things you have to deal with as they come. But yeah, it shouldn't be like, oh, you know, you're going to be getting treated horribly. Deal with it. That shouldn't be the hard part.
it is. It's not like I've never heard them like people like marriage is hard. It takes like we need to learn how to balance the checkbook. It's usually in real time about cheating. Like, girl, it's tough. You need to stick through it. It's like, ah. Why don't he gotta stick to it? Like, why isn't the conversation ever to men? You know what? Marriage and stuff, she might cheat. The fact that y'all out here the fact that y'all are out here playing in people's face, telling women who now make their own money that they're gonna have to stick to it, and then you are surprised. Like people are really surprised that the divorce rate is what it is when women can leave marriages after you abuse or cheat on them. Like what do you mean? What do you, like? I'm sitting here, like men are on podcasts talking about the divorce rate is blah, the divorce rate is blah, and women file for it the 80% of the time, blah blah blah. It's like, girl, yeah. And what about it? What do you think is gonna happen? You think they're just gonna sit there because you said marriage is hard? They're gonna sit there and go through this with you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You tried it. You
And that's
absolutely
why
tried it.
that's why I said even though I'm definitely pro marriage, but less like you don't have to get married because then you might end up in a situation you don't want to be in later and then getting a divorce, which I mean if you have to get a divorce, get one. But I
I
think
don't
like
want to.
a lot of people get married, like maybe too many. And then that's why the divorce rates are really high. I think that if it weren't marketed as something that everyone just needs to do, I don't think divorce rates would be so high because then only the people that actually wanted to be married and thought it through would end up getting married, and you wouldn't have as many instances of all these things that people get divorced for happening. In
I
my
watched a podcast. I'm not gonna play it. I'm looking at it. I don't want. I don't care about them. But Destiny and Melina were on, and Melina asked these men. So, if a woman is being abused, should she be able to leave? And everyone's like, no, no, kind
if
of
she's being
whatever.
abused,
Yeah, they don't think you should leave when you're being abused. Essentially, is what they get. And then she asked if the woman cheat. They're like, yeah, divorce. So you
what?
can leave when the woman cheats, but she can't leave if she's being abused. She can also leave if you cheat as the man because apparently men cheating is like a handshake. Y'all play I promise you this. I don't give advice, but I promise you this when they say marriage is hard, they're only talking about the women. When they read those vows, they're only talking about the women.
What
As
sickness?
like a general matter. Like I'm not saying that men don't adhere to these things, but I think as a general matter, that's what's happening. Like they're like, "Oh, through sickness and health, woman, will you be here? For richer or poorer woman, will you be here?" And they should just say that. They should just they should just say these are not vows, these are questions to the wife to be.
Just a list of questions. Oh my goodness, absolutely not. Both
Anyway,
partners.
let's read the super chats and then get into the Derek Jackson and Danaya.
All right, two L's, $5. It's an identity for most women. Once they become wives, suddenly they're no longer themselves. Maintain your identity even if you exchange your name.
Even the changing you know what, let me leave patriarchy alone. Period.
Chanel, $4.99. I never was drawn to the idea of marriage, but learning what I know now about marriage, it's a no-go. Y'all be easy though.
Period. Good for like but
Uh,
I'm for marriage, by the way. But I am for people consistently checking in on their marriage and seeing, oh, is this still working for me? Is this
do you
person
think
giving?
do you think that marriage should be like marriages should have to be renewed like licenses?
I don't care if it has to be renewed. I know I would be if I'm married, I'm renewing my marriage every single day. And
Like,
forget
do you
the
think they
punk.
should expire so that there's like no fault? Like, do you think that they should expire after every,
No.
I don't know, 5 years?
No. I think marriages as a contract requires that you both uphold your end of the bargain. As soon as you drop yours, I'm dropping mine.
What is in the chat? In
As
the
soon-
chat, I
I
got
am
it.
for as so I don't I believe in fairness. As soon as someone in a marriage drop their load, you drop yours.
You
Like
know, I want to to know what the audience thinks about that though, because I've asked that question on my Facebook before. Because divorce rates are pretty high. And a lot of people don't want to be married forever. So should marriages just expire after a certain amount of time? If you think that marriages should expire and just have to keep getting renewed so that at the end of it, there are terms and conditions that are already laid out beforehand so that there's not like a big divorce proceeding or whatever. If you think that should happen, put a 1 in the chat. If you think,
I made a poll.
oh, you made a poll. Okay, good.
Should marriages expire after a certain time, right?
Yeah. And then, after that, if
I'm
you
not with that. I'm
say,
not with
hey,
that.
it's
No,
not
because I think your resources and everything coming together allows a certain kind of protection. And so what I do believe is, this is what I believe. I believe the person who cheats should pay alimony and everything. When I feel like there should be a buyout when you breach a contract, like an actual contract. I
Mhm.
think that if you and this works for men. If you're with a woman who cheats on you, you should not have to pay alimony. Nothing about child support. And I think the judge should penalize men who cheat by upping the alimony.
Okay. So those should be the terms like of marriage in terms of the marriage, like as a contract.
Yeah, I think people are rapidly choosing because we're at most people are saying yes, it should expire after a certain time. I don't think people understand the implications of that and how that leaves you unprotected. Because if it expires and it's like you were never married, after like 10 years, let's say you have 3 children, you quit your job, you were trad wife, you're at home, if there is no consequence after the divorce, then you're out of luck after that 10 years if he wants to go and go do something
See,
else.
but there should be, like you said, there should be term like if marriages were
Oh,
in.
so now you're filtering in other
No,
things.
no, no. I even said that in the beginning. Like there has to be something agreed upon before you get married. Like this is what's going to happen at the end of 3 years or however many years if we decide not to go through with renewing our marriage. I think that like that would absolutely have to be baked in there somewhere
But you
because
can plan
otherwise,
in the way that you can put custody in a prenup. The part of it is like you can plan for what you don't know, and part of what you don't know, like if you're like this is going to happen after the 10 years and the marriage no longer exists,
mhm.
what happens is you can't factor for all of the conditions that we don't know, like force majeure, right? We don't know what an act of God, what's going to happen. And
Mhm.
I think that is a tremendous, you're at a tremendous negotiating disadvantage if it expires. But that's my
Well,
take.
that's true. And then think about like what if someone like passes away and y'all didn't like decide what happened after expiration date? Like all types of it would really have to be well planned in order for that to work. But I don't know. A lot of people like the idea.
I
I don't
don't
know.
think a lot of people thought through the idea.
Thought it through.
That,
Yeah.
that is not safe. That is absolutely not safe to do. Please remember to like the stream. We're at only 190 likes, and we have 740 people watching. Please
It's
like the
free.
stream. It's really helpful to me. So absolutely not. Let's read the for me. Let's read.
Love
Uh,
Latoya, $5. He saw her as prey for however he wants to use her, like most men like him do. Curry up and eat, 199. Wish her the best, but remember she cursed y'all.
let it go down your throat slowly and choke you. I was like, what?
Kenny
What
from
did
the
I do? No, it's like I wasn't the one out here cheating on you. You cursing me when I'm not the one cheating on you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Kenny from the block, 999. It's a shame that good marriages are diminished into the shadow of the bad ones. Relationships shouldn't be defined as easy or hard. Life is hard. We have to learn to deal with it like everything else.
Thank you, Kenny. Um,
Mia, $5. They don't want black women to be happy. They want our trauma fueled labor. It's akin to how laborers were exploited during the Industrial Revolution.
let's add one more.
Gia Homet, 199. Teen cheat back.
How do you feel about that?
What, cheating back?
Hmm.
I think that when you're married, if you are going to try to stay together, then that is not something you should do. But if you are like, you know what, I'm leaving, and you just trying to get
Wait,
some,
wait. What should happen then? If someone
I,
cheats on you, what would you do?
um, in like in my marriage, I I don't even want to think about it. Um,
I'm
I
cheating
just hope
back.
that never happens. Oh my goodness.
I'm for cheating back. I feel like marriage is an unbreakable vow, and we can just go out and do what we want and go back in. I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness. I just
No,
that
for real though. What would? Oh, what? What do
that's
you
just
think?
so I just think that that is people should not cheat on their husbands or wives. Like
But
it
when
is
they
just
do, what should the other
I
person do? Just
you
leave?
know what? I don't know, and I don't blame anybody for what they do with if that
What
happens.
would you do?
I honestly don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would be crushed. I don't know what I would do. I don't even want to think about it.
So you're not leaving or cheating back?
You want me to say cheat back?
No, no. Is there a
I
world in which you stay and nothing happens? I feel
I
like
mean
if
something would
someone, so I don't believe in one-offs, and this is a problem. I'm wrong. I'm owning this. Please don't take this as anything outside of me, my own idiosyncratic ideas about life and people. So I don't believe in one-offs. So if you cheat, you are not going to convince me that it only
it was the
happened
first time.
once and that it won't happen again. There is nothing you can do. There is zero, like you. There is
But Demas, is
nothing.
that for any breach of trust though? Like,
No,
is that
just
for
cheating.
anything? Just cheating.
Cheating
Okay.
requires a lot.
Okay. So
It
that's one
requires
specific
a lot of
thing.
actions, right? Like unless you're like, oh, I was drunk, but even then I won't. Like no. So it requires too much on your part to get to the point of like actually engaging in it. So like there is zero ways you can convince me that you didn't plan it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely understand that. I think
Girl,
cheating.
everyone is mad. They say you're not answering the question.
I did. I said I don't. How can I?
Then
I
everyone,
don't.
well,
I said I would be. I said
okay.
I would be crushed. I said I don't even want to think about that. I said I don't
No,
know
no,
what I
you
would
didn't
do.
answer it then.
I don't know what I would do. I just think that's a horrible, horrible thing for someone to do to their spouse. Like it is the worst thing. The
Please note, if you're with me and you cheat and I find out, I am doing something about it. I don't know what, but I am doing something
That's
about it.
what I'm. See, Themis. See,
Oh
Themis.
no,
This is
I'm
what I don't
cheating
like.
back. I'm cheating back.
I was
I
about to
am
say
cheating
because
back. I am doing. I'm gonna do a lot of things. Like it's not gonna. You're gonna hurt
see
worse
how
than
you
me.
said, but see how you said, you don't know what you're gonna do, but
No, I
I
was
will get
saying that
dragged.
jokingly. I was. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. It's not like I am not like no. I am. I give so in my mind. Maybe this is not real, but in my mind, I will give so much of me and care so much for people I care about that when you mess with me, it's on. Like it is on. Like no, absolute no, no.
I think this, and this is again why if someone doesn't want to be married, I don't think that people need to be like pushing them to get married because this is something you have to think about. Are you ready to not like be with anyone else for the rest of your life? If you're not ready for that, you shouldn't get married and that's okay. Like just don't get married. Um but if you get married, you have to be ready to commit to that person that you're with.
Someone said cheat tag is dumb to me. It is dumb. It is dumb, childish, and I'm here for it. It causes a lot of stress and it can be very harmful and it's really not good. And I think that it is a terrible idea and I don't advocate for it, but I'm gonna do it. So, like,
You're like, look, I don't care. You said I'm gonna.
no. And it's not just like, also, if I feel like the people aren't in love and like me cheating back isn't gonna do anything, then I'm not gonna cheat back. I'm gonna do like what I'm not gonna do is this. Again, I don't give advice, but when it comes to finding out that someone cheats and them knowing that you know, if you don't do something, I don't believe that they can respect you. I do not believe it is possible for someone who cheats on you and you do nothing about it to respect you.
I
I
agree with
don't
that.
think
I
that's
think
possible.
I agree with that. I think something needs to happen. Absolutely. If that happens and like trust is broken to that degree in a marriage, like something absolutely needs to happen.
Someone
Because
was
if you
like,
just
why
you
not
just
just leave? Why not just leave? No, if we're in a relationship, I've invested a lot. And if you hurt me, you're going, no. It's
wait,
not.
so wait, Demas, you would cheat back and then stay?
No, oh, I'm not there because I love you after this. I am there to cause chaos. Like
Oh,
I in your life
so
for
now that's
chaos.
just your life's mission. What?
Th- But
Oh my
you don't
goodness.
understand. I don't think of myself as a fundamentally good person. I think of myself as someone who wants to be good, right? And so I don't have the kind of like, you know what moral license is, right? When you think of yourself as good, you do things and then you're like, oh, but I can do that because deep down I'm good. No, I also don't think that we should excuse bad behavior and I don't hide from my shadow, right? So, knowing that about myself, I can recognize that I try each day to do the next right thing. I care, I give, I am so selfless in my pursuit to be a good person. Oh no, if you took that and throw it in my face, it's on. It is on. Absolutely no. Yep, you will see. No. So, FYI, please don't go around, oh, Themis is such a good person. It's not true. It is, I try to be a good person. I try to do the right thing. I try. Please note, I also know the opposite.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like how you laid out how it's not a good idea. Then you're like, but I'm still doing that.
We in an open relationship now, right? Like it's an open relationship. What y'all on? Particularly if the idea of an open relationship annoys you. Like now we are in it.
I mean, oh my goodness.
Team cheat. I match energy. LOL. I don't know if I match energy. But I don't know. I justify it by the fact that I give so much and I don't care about a sunk cost fallacy like, oh my God, I can't stop now because I've invested too much. I will continue to invest. No, I can stop, but you're going to pay me back. Not pay me back, but like if you hurt me, yeah, I am pro cheat back. That is the clip. I am pro cheat back.
That's the clip. Chanel 499. Go ahead and cheat back and watch your, I don't want to say that word, pH be in turmoil because you've been messing around with your cheating husband and your side piece.
Yeah, true. But theme is your ability to do bad but choose not to actually makes you even a better person. So that's actually what I believe. I believe people who claim to be good people are liars and I don't trust them. If you're like, I would never do a bad thing, I'm like, okay, girl, let me keep you at arm's length. Because it sounds like even either you're lying or you don't know yourself. And if you're lying, you're a terrible person. If you don't know yourself, I'm actually afraid of you. If you don't know the capacity, no, for
You
real.
said I'm actually afraid.
Yeah, like those people who go
Valid.
off and they're like, "Oh my God, that wasn't me." I'm like, I'm gonna stay away from you, girl, because it looks like you don't know who you are. So I'm just gonna stay over here and you stay over there, going off and blacking out and like doing things. Because absolutely not.
Do you
Let's
think that
face it.
people are inherently, I mean, not inherently, do you think that people are generally good?
No,
Just in general?
no,
Do you think they're generally not good? Like, which one do you
no.
think
I
is
think
more
people
innate?
self-interested. And because
Okay.
people are self interested, they are susceptible to behaving poorly if the culture demands it, and behaving well if the culture demands it. So I create my own culture that demands goodness so that I can continue to strive for goodness. Um, but I think people can. I don't think of inherent goodness or inherent badness,
Hmm.
but I do think we have the capacity for both.
Hmm.
Let's continue to read. You? Do you think it?
You know, um, that's a question I've been thinking about actually for a long time. I think I agree with you though. I would say either way can happen. Although I do, well, I guess I was gonna say I do think some people are just like naturally worse people than others. I think some people have a greater capacity to do horrible things. Like I don't think everyone would do everything if the opportunity or circumstance presented itself, but some people would, you know? So I do think there's a difference between people, but I think most people could end up doing something bad, even though they generally don't. Let me put it that way. Um, Apple IFC, $5. If someone cheats in a marriage, it is now an open relationship. So I would tell my spouse nothing and find what tickles my fancy.
To be fair, I would never let someone know that I know what they did until I'm ready to do something about it.
Random TV, 4.99. Sis, you need to think about it because the odds of it happening to you is very high. No shade. Hmm. Oh, me.
Someone said,
I, hey, Ohaji says cheating back just opens the door for more chaos.
I don't remember if I said this, but I am there for chaos at this point. Like,
Yeah,
did
you're like, look, I'm gonna clear my schedule so that I can cause some chaos. Um, hey, Ohaji, 4.99. Ladies, please don't cheat back because you're playing with your life. For him to know, he would have to see it. These men are not stable. It's not worth it.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so I don't. This is not advice, and I actually would tell you be careful because yeah, these people will harm you. Like that's actually an important note. So I actually appreciate that. People
Okay,
will harm you when you hurt them.
that is
Demas
just
is my twin in pettiness. LOL. Period.
LB, 4.99. So the people who cheat back are the people that stay because what I need to respect for. Hmm. Joe, I don't think they. Oh,
I
I don't
agree,
think
LB.
they're back.
I don't think they heard. Oh,
Gia Homet, 199. Morally gray with chaotic potential. I can relate. Christy Love, 4.99. I agree, Themis. I can't trust people who think they would do no wrong. You don't know what you're capable of.
yep.
That's why I don't know is a good answer.
Yeah, you don't. But I just assumed the worst in me, and I make sure I tame that. I can see clearly now. Welcome to the membership.
Hi. LB 199. I choose indifference. It wrecks people. Yeah.
No, it don't actually. I used to think this. It generally does. And when we talk about bullying and being teased, unless you're saying the consequences, I am going to be indifferent, but I'm leaving, then period. But if you're being indifferent by just letting them cheat in peace,
Oh yeah, no. I don't think that would in
she
peace.
Like, oh, he cheated. Oh, I'm indifferent. I'm like, okay, good. I know that's not what LB meant. I know that's not what LB meant. But period.
Oh, like what was the movie with Denzel? Well, I guess the new version. It was like Denzel and Viola Davis and Fences. Did you see that movie?
Yeah.
She knew he was doing all this stuff, right? And she kind of just like kept going with the family, and then she like broke down about it later. Um, Maybe that's the level of I mean, I don't know if she was indifferent though, but I don't know why, but I immediately thought of that movie after reading that comment. Uh, DJ, $5. Here's a cookie for the girlies who are above cheating. I'm cheated back.
Welcome to the member Sauce and Psychology.
Afro Butterfly, $2. Don't cheat back, ruin his credit. Just playing.
Hit him up while he was. Do you guys remember that song? What's that lady named Something Blue?
Blue Cantrell. Blue Cantrell.
Yeah, period. We'll hit him up.
I used to like that song when I was little.
Get
That
your
was
hand in discussion and spend it to the last dime for all the hard times. When it goes.
Apple IFC, $2. Remember The Best Man, the movie?
I do remember. All right, let's watch. Oh, I forgot about Danaya. I was like, did we finish Danaya? We didn't. All right. So Danaya is yeah. She's on a tour right now. And she said she did not a tour. She's on an interview, and I want her to like talk more because I find this really, really sad that like someone had to go through this, and like someone who seemed to be such a mild mannered person had to go through some of this. So I'm going to play some of the clips from the Shade Room, and then we'll get some reaction to it.
It's like I have a post that says, I knew her body better than I knew my own.
Stop. Let that sit there. You said you knew another woman's body better than you knew your own.
Yes, several women. I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. And I spent a lot of time, like I went in such a deep hole where I was like studying these women. I would go to their profiles and I would study their pages and like what they wear. I knew when they had met up. So I watched their videos of them having sex. So I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me. And that is a low point to be. And I'm tearing up a little bit because I hate that I even got to a point where that was a thing, but that it was just that. And so I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own.
Someone block Petty. Petty, why would you do that in the middle of this? And you know how I am with this whole laughter thing. All right. What do you mean you hope he would choose me when you're married to him? Can someone make that make sense to me? Because that's annoying me right now.
I think that what you were kind of asking earlier, like, did he choose her because she seemed like an easy target or something like that? You were saying asking earlier. I think that maybe she did have like low self-esteem or something, or maybe she didn't feel like she could get a man who like him, quote unquote. I mean, even though clearly, but whatever. Maybe she didn't think she was worthy of him. So she felt like, okay, what do I need to do to make him choose me? I think that's so sad, of course, because she shouldn't have to feel that way with her husband. And like you were saying earlier, if someone is willing to do these things like this self-reflection and all this work, which people should do, if something is their fault or if they're working through a problem with someone else, but like to take accountability for someone else's actions in that way, like someone else's actions that are harming you, I think that's so sad that she had to even go through that. And I really hope she heals from this.
I'm trying to imagine being in a relationship where you're competing with other people outside of the relationship, but also add to that a marriage. And I just don't think that, like, on one hand, like competing for men's attention is something that's part of patriarchy, but not for your husband.
Right.
So there is that element. But she said in the interview that came out 10 hours ago that
Mm-hmm.
like a couple weeks before her marriage, he was out there cheating. And y'all went along with the marriage. Like, I mean,
That's because she felt like she was winning something when she got with him, and people were
that's
probably
the
like,
problem with marriages.
she probably felt like, oh my goodness, look at me type of thing. And I mean, like, no, that should absolutely not be the case with somebody that you're about to marry or that you're married to. You should know that that person wants you and wants to be committed to you, and you shouldn't still be like in competition, in active competition with people when you're married. That doesn't make sense.
But let me add this in.
How many women he actually cheated on you with? Was
As
there
a
ever
whole
time
in marriage?
in, out, or whatever? Was there ever a moment that y'all had like a come to Jesus moment where he sat down and said, listen, to my knowledge, this is how many women I've slept with?
Okay, so part of the recovery process where we were in the program for infidelity and all that is discovery. And in discovery, it's like we've trickled out a lot of information. Now it's time to go to level 0, ground zero, they call it. And so he had to make a list. And so he made a list of women, so everything that he could recollect. And there was nearly 100 women on there. And so
You're talking about the 100. Where you going
that
back
he
to?
wrote on the list. Now,
You talking about you talking about in his lifetime, or you talking about while y'all were dealing with each other?
okay, so we have to define these things. So I did not do a good job at defining if it was the lifetime of his lifetime or if it was specific to just
Well, heck, he been dating you since he was 19.
right.
So
So in my mind, to me that's a lifetime, right?
yeah,
In my mind. So I'm thinking at least since we have met.
Did you ever find out how many women he actually cheated?
100. Also, how you remember 100 women?
100. What? I and again, it's really unfortunate that she felt the way she felt, to the point where she felt like, "Ooh, I'm gonna prove that I'm better than these hundreds of other women," or whatever. Prove to her own husband. 'Cause I think she's really cute. Like, she's really pretty. She seems nice.
Yeah,
She
she
seems
is.
nice based on what I've seen. I mean, of course, I don't know her, but she seems nice and she can do better.
I'm working through how you're in a marriage, competing for your husband, watching your husband sleep with other women while you're trying to mimic those other women so he can choose you, and then add to that the number of women he's been with while he's with you or have known you. Like, I'm not making any declarative statements on marriage. Absolutely not. That is out of that's not my place. it seems to me that the man you marry and the woman you are is way more important than the marriage you're getting into. And so I feel like we need to start talking about who people are and not just like statistically. And it's not about vetting either, because what do people tell you to do? Go to college, find the man in school, and be with him. This man was online telling women how to and men how to be. Like, the fact that she got cheated on and she got trapped in this place, I don't think is an indictment on her only, because there were a lot of women. Literally, she had like cheating, divorce, cheating, getting over cheating through a Christian perspective boot camp thing. I don't, and apparently there were a ton of women there. So a lot of women are getting cheated on. A lot of women are in these marriages. A lot of women are like going through this. And I'm sitting here like, but you're the people talking about marriages. Like, again, anecdotally, my friend whose aunts are getting cheated on, who have families in Nigeria, in different places, who husband aren't really doing anything, are looking to my friend for money, are looking to her and telling her, oh, she need to get married. Why? Why, you married person going through hell currently, why are you telling her that she needs to get married? It sounds like misery loves company.
Are
That
they
is
are they at least telling her, like, did your friend say that they also tell her, like, make sure you don't end up in the situation I'm in?
No, no, they wave their marriage around like it is a badge of honor. And I've met
Oh,
one of these people, and like the way she moves about the world, I actually kind of appreciate. Her head is always up, and she seems really sophisticated and happy on, I guess, on the outside, because that marriage ain't it. And that marriage where you now know that you have a sister wife in another country is ridiculous. And he goes there often. How are you sitting here telling my friend that she needs to get married when you're going through hell in yours and not qualifying the kinds of marriage she needs to get in?
yeah, because I mean, you would at least have to say, like, I know that mine looks horrible, but make sure that you are not picking these types of people or whatever. I mean, just saying it and not qualifying it any type of way is wild.
Let's go through some super chat, because if I go, I'm going to say something I'll regret.
Miss G 615 $5. I don't feel sorry for all, because she was going through all of this and let him run a scam on other women.
I don't know if that. So I don't judge Danaya. I'm not saying anyone should change their mind. This is my opinion. I think, and this is something that I've thought about a lot, because until I came to YouTube, I didn't hear the word blackmail worship. And if I theorize about it, I accept it, and I think I understand it. To understand it means you have to give grace to women in these situations, or quote unquote pick me's. I'm using that as a general term, not to attack anyone, or a quote unquote blackmail worshiper. If you believe fundamentally that the system we're in forces that on young black girls who grow up into women, it feels odd to not have sympathy for them. I don't know how to reconcile that. Like, I don't think you can call someone a blackmail worshiper, quote unquote, without also having sympathy. Like, if it means what I think it means, I don't think it's possible to like call. I don't know. I'm going to move on from that. But I I would have a ton of grace if it is what I think it is.
504 Empress $5. My ex suggested I cheat on him as a solution because he cheated on me. No, I'm good. I'll just go.
Yeah, no. If they're
He was
making
like, wait, you just do this back real quick.
absolutely not.
Now we're even.
It's not gonna do what I want it to do.
Wait,
Exactly. Yeah, no. That it's not gonna do. Cheating is not gonna do what I need it to do. Uh,
So the theme is, if they were like, okay, you go ahead, then what chaos are you going to cause?
oh, I don't know yet, but I will find out what your weakness is.
CJ, $3. She feared him leaving if she demanded more.
She said that in the interview. She said she would go in her closet and cry in hopes that he would come and see her crying. And when she would just say it was something else. Like that, that was torture. And I can't imagine what it feels like to deify someone, because the way she talks about him, she puts herself down a lot, and like, I'm lucky to have him, and how did he choose me? And so like the way she talks about him seems to be she's lionizing him and making herself small. And so she has to consistently be the one who is working to make sure it works, right? When you create that kind of power differential in a relationship, or when it exists, that is harsh. And there is a psychologist that came out and did a TED talk about sort of um, relationships never being equal insofar as both people never love the other equally, right? One person tend to always love the other person more. And when you have that, if the person who loves less is egotistical or mean, the person who loves more better have boundaries. They better have something intact to let them know, I love you, I want you, but I'm about to go because this is not for me. If you
Yeah.
don't have that, you will be walked all over. When you wake up 15 years from now, you don't know who you are anymore because you've given so much. And I fundamentally believe that.
Yeah, because the other person will just think, oh, they're not going to leave. They're not going to do anything.
Well, how can you leave when you thought this is the best thing you could ever have and you can't get anything better? And that's why it is super important that you don't look at people's beauty as like on the ranking scale where like you're like a 10, a 5, a 4, or whatever. If you do that and you put too much stock into it, you stop looking at other characteristics that will say he's not a good person. So even if
Yeah.
you say, oh, he's a 10 and I'm a 5 and I need to work to keep this 10, that puts you in a really, really tough position, because you could find someone who might not look as physically attractive, but is a tremendously better person than the one you're with. And that's a better relationship. Like, you should not be holding on to things that are incompatible with you. And this is why I don't like this 1 to 10 scale, because it is foolishness. You love who you love.
Absolutely. Key to everything, 199. How can I lose when she already chose? Like, I spice.
Like,
KC 999. Now this makes a lot of sense. Easier to get over a marriage you knew was horrible from the start versus being blindsided by a marriage you thought was worth something.
I just feel really bad. Thank you, Casey. A word.
Camille Haji 499. Right, Themis. It almost feels like he was just making up names and getting off knowing it would make her work harder for approval.
Yeah, and she worked. Someone said Derek is not handsome. I would not say that. He seems very bulky, but apparently that's the in thing. Apparently that's the thing in.
LB 499. It's given single white female, the movie. I would be freaked out if somebody did that if I cheated on them.
If you tell me you slept with 100 people, I'm gonna probably be at the hospital getting checked out. Like, there is
Just
probably no doctor also that could tell me that I don't have something. Like, I would just be
statistically,
like, I would,
statistically, a
yeah,
100 people, there's something, right?
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
mean, statistically, just it seems like there would be. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there is, because obviously, apparently there
Right,
isn't. I don't know, and I'm not putting anything on anyone. But
right. Just in terms of like what you would think, I would think the same thing.
yeah,
Now I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know anything about them, but if it were me, I would think the same thing you just said. Like, let's get to a hospital. Yeah. Tiffy Q 799. Why did he even video it? I think he wanted her to see it because he would have at least hit it.
Yeah. Yeah, the videoing thing is weird. It's so whatever.
Lifetime needs the rights to her story. LB.
Period. She better sell it before he does.
Curry up and eat $4.99. Derek was not that deep based on his attitude and apology. Danaya was spoon feeding that man all his talking points.
I wonder if that's true because she sound different than what I thought she did. Because when she came back with the Bonnet of Salvation, I was like, oh, I don't know what this woman is talking about. But now she seems more coherent. So
Nature Calling $4.99. I'm sure her family played a big part of her marrying him. He was a young black man who was college educated and no kids. He's a unicorn. Getting lucky in Kentucky $1.99. Always get with someone who loves you more.
look, that's my advice to everyone. But unfortunately, that's a paradox. Everyone can't do that, but that is my advice.
LB $1.99. Black Girl Interrupted. A Lifetime original.
By the way, when someone loves you more, please don't take advantage of that. That's not cool. Like that's kind of sick. All right. So we wanted to drop the link, right? We have 30 more minutes. And you guys can come up and contribute on anything that we have said. We're not getting into the race argument. There's no reason we would. Did you watch the podcast with Annalicia and Petty on Saturday?
I saw in the Discord.
Oh no.
Because I popped in the other day, the day when you were like, Kay is here. And I was reading and I was like, okay, I need to go watch this because what is going on? We'll see. But did you want to talk about that right now?
No, God, no. I have nothing to say about no. But I just find it interesting. I was gonna watch more of the video, but I decided not to because I don't know if this man copyright his video. But it's a good interview. You guys should watch it. I don't like his interviewing style, but that's a personal sort of idiosyncratic thing. Ignore that, watch it, enjoy it, and come back to me. But I don't know. I feel like he took anyway. Let me not.
There's a bird. Like there's a very loud bird outside of the window, and I'm just hoping you can't. Oh, okay.
I can hear it.
Okay, good.
Black Love, go ahead.
Yeah, Derek Jackson. Like I don't know if he has like mental health problems or if he's like really good at compartmentalizing himself, but like that dude is psychotic. How do you do that to Danaya? And given her history, right? On some level, I have to believe that he knew about like what happened to her right before they got together.
Yeah, she said she told him once.
Oh damn! And the worst thing I can imagine for her what it feels like, right? I don't think it's uncommon for women to feel broken after like an assault like that, right? So for him to like go have fun, I guess, with other women, and you feeling like your own marriage is broken. And you're trying to like get him back to that original place when he came in to rescue you. Like that's got to be like super traumatic. And one thing nobody touched on is like the kids know this happened. Like I think they have 3 kids, right? Like
yeah,
whatever your dad was trying to teach you to be, you know, at the end of the day, he's just a liar. There's nothing that's going to ever change your mind that this man has like anything of value to tell you, even if the advice is good.
What does it say about the women who still support him?
Oh, that drives me crazy. I think Derek Jackson has like pretty privilege. I think that's the only thing that really explains it. Because I've seen men like him before where it's like they're really good at just telling people what they want to hear. But all you have to do is step back in a second and see how they move, and you realize that like there's really nothing there. Yeah, I think the fantasy is more what women want as like a product than like somebody who actually lives by those words.
Yeah, I agree with you. Without any prescription about um, what should happen or describing any mental illness, I don't know. So I'm gonna take that back. But thank you, Black Love.
Mhm. Yeah.
Con-
Oh, and then
concern.
also, I was gonna say also, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I've been moving up in the world. I really appreciate you guys. You guys motivated me. So yeah,
Yeah, how are you
keep.
moving up in the world? Good for
Uh, I,
you.
I had a change of career and everything's going up. So I really appreciate you guys. You guys motivated
Wow.
me.
Yes. What are you doing
Congrats.
now? Do you feel comfortable saying what you do now?
I changed. I took a few chances and I'm gonna go into like the finance industry. That's all I can say.
Period.
Period. Shout out to Monye for inspiring the masses too.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, Black Love. That's good. Have a good one.
You
Come
too.
back and celebrate.
Of course. Bye.
Bye. I'm concerned.
Hi,
So,
Concern.
hey, I think you're so lovely.
Thank you.
Anyways, I rarely ever get to a chance to talk with you on there. So checking mic check. Am I obnoxiously loud right now? Because last time people were so angry. This is good?
Fine to
Okay.
me.
All right. So what I wanted to add is that I really want women, particularly Black women, to take a pause and look at Danaya then and Danaya now. And I was walking my dog when you guys were talking about this, but so let me. I mean, I apologize if this is redundant, but it lets you know how far being gaslight can take you into a whole other realm where you see things that aren't there and you believe things that aren't there. And the reason why I think it's important for us to name is that Black women are often gaslit, right? We are in a world that is constantly manipulating the situation so that we can continue to bear the brunt of the cost of the lifestyle that we have that you know our communities have, right? And that's, you know, on a Black community scale, that's an American scale, that's a diaspora scale, all the above, right? Like Black women are often pulling a huge amount of the weight, and for us to make that okay, and Kate, please obviously feel free to jump in, but like for us to make that okay, we have had to believe things that might not be true. And I know that I have so much empathy for Danaya, but obviously her relationship with God and her relationship with herself was able to pull through for her. So, you know, shout out to her for the change. But you think about what that must mean. We might be thinking right now that is a lie, because, you know, obviously this channel attracts women who are educated, attracts women who are ambitious, and attracts women who don't grin and bear it, like they say in Jamaica. Grin and bear it mean, like, you know, just bear any kind of abuse. We're not going to smile in your face while you're spitting in ours, you know what I mean? And so that reality of, you know, we as women are women who are trying not to be suckered, so to speak. And
so do you think that this is like it sounds like you're describing like a bigger issue that this would fall under?
Yes. And that, I mean, I don't know if this is what Themis was alluding to, but that Black male worship thing, that patriarchal indoctrination thing, that religiosity thing has really shaped our worldview in ways that if we were able to be objective, which is a really tall order, right? It's hard to be objective when it's your life, it is personal. But, you know, this is a case in point of that. You know what I mean? Like, she really bought into this idea that it would be that anything for our relationship. That, you know what I mean?
What's like another thing that you think falls under this umbrella that you're describing?
I think a lot of times women, you know, feeling maybe uncomfortable with putting more of the burden on their partners when they are partnered. So a lot of women hesitate to meaningfully distribute the burden, right? Like some men would be willing to, some men are into you enough to pull more of their weight, but a lot of women feel very guilty when to really partner with a man in a meaningful way, where she's not trying to be, you know, the person who knows all of the schedule, who packs all the things, who know, like, a lot of women do that type of stuff even in the most egalitarian intention. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you're just saying that maybe women walk on eggshells and feel like they have to do certain things just based on, I don't know, what's like expected of them versus what's actually appropriate for what's happening in their specific situation.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll take ownership of that myself. And Themis, I do love coming up here to talk to you too. Don't be that guy. Don't be like that. But what I'm saying, and obviously, you know, this is not just girl talk, Themis, enter wherever, but the idea of, you know, giving up some of the things that, some of the belief systems that make us insecure in situations, right? Make us overcompensate when we think that, you know, there's a, just make us overcompensate. We all do it differently, right? Like, there's a lot of Black women who are pulling more than their weight at work. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of Black women who are, you know, holding a lot more emotional burden than they should in the relationship. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and even us who are trying our best and don't want this for ourselves and are not saying that we accept any of the insert word here, sorry, can't think of it, like the predetermined like belief systems that it takes to react this way, I guess. There's probably a better way to say that. But even us who don't want to believe that probably still are scared about truly asking everybody else to appreciate how much we value ourselves now. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because she's a case in point. Like, you could really, like, she said all of the things she said, she meant it those days. That was not an act. You know what I mean? And so can you imagine how far you can get into the sunken place believing some of these things?
Yeah, you put it in a very interesting way. I don't think I've heard it explained that way before. Definitely something to think about. Thank you.
Explain it to me, Kay.
You don't get what I'm saying?
I want you to explain what you said to me. I want you to explain it.
What she's saying, I think, is that some people are uncomfortable with being themselves, putting themselves first, I guess, making sure that their own needs are met. So in that, I guess, capacity, they end up doing things that make themselves sad or hurt or whatever through putting up with this behavior from someone else, because they just simply don't feel comfortable like setting those boundaries due to the way that women are kind of expected to be when it comes to men or when it comes to just in society in general.
Is
So
that
that's what I said.
Oh.
See, look at you, Themis. Don't try to quiz me. I was listening and I knew what was going on.
You weren't on our frequency. Sorry.
Whenever I'm talking, when someone is saying something and I don't know what's happening, I that's very interesting. Thank you.
Oh God. Whatever. I mean, for the ones who get it, and I'm not even trying to be funny about it. Like,
I wasn't saying I didn't get it. I'm saying that Kay's reaction is how I would react to something that I wasn't sure about.
Do you see how I get misunderstood? Because I totally understood what she was saying and where she was coming from.
See, I mean, I think the only part that maybe I don't think we got into agreement about that wasn't in your summary, which was mostly what I was saying. It was that I think that even us who are trying to be intentional about setting boundaries hesitate. Like, we stay in toxic situations that we shouldn't to, because we know that there is a world we want to see, and then there's the way that the world works and the repercussions of stepping outside of the line.
Right. The expectations.
Wait, why is the chat dragging me? What? The chat is dragging me concerned. I need help.
Thanks, guys. No, because you were making fun of me and I was making sense.
Concerned, he tried to give me a quiz because he thought that I was giving a fluff answer when I said thank you for your comment. I knew what you were doing. But
Richard, my masculine energy didn't let me hear.
All right, guys, I'll hop down, but thanks for having me. Hi,
Thank
Ken.
you.
thank you, Concerned.
AJM, I've missed you.
Hi, how are you guys doing? I'm listening and I'm loving this conversation.
Hi.
Okay, so I liked where Concerned was going, but I have kind of a different take because I feel like I've been personally dealing with this conundrum for a while. And I really believe deeply that what happened to Danaya is just related to programming. And that also explains why women still support Derek. That also explains why because, where I feel like the way you're explaining it, it's that we are choosing to feel this way, but I feel like we have been programmed our whole lives to believe that marriage is the natural end progression of dating and relationships. So to not ever achieve that, you do feel like you are a failure. And it does make you feel like your relationships are meaningless. Because if you are in a relationship that is, you're just dating forever, it's like, you're never gonna, or will you ever live together at that point? I mean, like, it's too risky to merge your lives if there isn't a deeper level of commitment that connects with that, like.
Oh my God. I didn't notice this before, but I think for a lot of men, dating isn't like in a relationship or an end in and of themselves. So like
Mhm.
it's not like the cause to then lead to marriage. And so obviously women are thinking like I am dating not all men by the way, but like a lot of men that I've spoken to see like relationships as an end in themselves and not like the stepping stone to marriage. At least that's how I
Right.
heard it.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's where we differ, women differ from men generally, is that we're more programmed to see it as being then like, this is why you do this so that you can have children and so that you can, start a life, basically. Like your life doesn't actually start until you hit that
Right.
point. Like, so you do kind of feel like I keep going back and forth because in my mind, it doesn't make sense. Like Oprah makes sense to me. Like, don't get married if you're super rich. Like, what's the point of getting married? Like from a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense. Like, I just don't understand like why Jeff Bezos just got engaged again. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But at the same time, I'm also like, I couldn't imagine being in a relationship where we're not at one point or another going to be talking about getting married. Do you know what I mean? Like, because then it's.
Wait, does that mean that if you were like, let's say an Oprah or a Jeff Bezos, that you wouldn't even date? Because if you think like there's no point of dating unless you're.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it almost feels like, what's the point of dating at that point? You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's just this is never going to be anything more than what it is.
So then what
while
should
we're
they
dating?
Do? Like,
that's my question. And I think that's the problem that so many people have. Well, women, maybe we subconsciously have we deal with this dilemma where maybe marriage isn't something that is beneficial to us, because it doesn't make sense for these super rich women to marry these dudes that are like, basically like bummy or whatever. But it's like, if you feel that on like a higher level, subconsciously, if we feel that, this is where it has to go, like, otherwise, what is even the point of doing it in the first place? I can understand that being something that makes you conflicted, because it's like, okay, are we just going to date forever? And if we date forever, then that means we never live together. That means we never, you know what I mean? Because living together requires us to merge, different finances. Like maybe we're buying furniture together. We're merging our lives in a way that it's very complicated without that level of commitment. So
it's all about communication, right? Like you have to communicate what it is that you are wanting out of this relationship with someone, and they need to communicate with you. Like if one person,
right, but when it comes to like, let's say you guys get a house together, you know, like there's a lot of things that you have to go in a different way. And you know, I know that marriage is like the easiest way to deal with something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, death benefits for a spouse, all these different things get worked out when you're married. But if you don't get married, then I mean, like, I feel like our whole society, and that's why I think it's programming, our whole society is built around the expectation that you will get married. You know, like everything, you know, there are ways to get around it, but it's just more work. You know, you have to come up with like a partnership, you know, documents, agreements. You know what I mean? Like
if you
to
want
make it
someone to be
legal.
if you want someone to be your power of attorney, you need to go get that paperwork done or whatever the case may be. Yeah, sure.
Right.
I agree.
Yes.
And like you were saying, marriage kind of like covers a lot of those things all at once. So a lot of people might think it's easier to do it that way. But again, if you don't want to get married, I'm not saying you, but whoever doesn't want to get married, they shouldn't. If you want someone to be your power of attorney or you want someone to be this or that, you need to get that other paperwork done if you do not want to be married. But the thing is, if you want all these other things, why would you not want to, like if you're dating someone and you want to legally have them connected to you in every way where they're making all these decisions if you're not able to or whatever, if you want to give someone all of that power, why aren't you wanting to marry them?
And that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like
I don't think those people are
I
don't think those people are the same people. I don't think that anyone who doesn't want to be married.
I think they can be sometimes, though. I feel like sometimes our programming doesn't align with how we see our lives going, if that makes sense. Like,
I get what you're saying, but it doesn't make sense for someone who doesn't want to be married to want to legally and financially attach.
I think most of us want to be married because of our programming, but our lives actually, like for the lives we see ourselves having, it like marriage doesn't actually make sense for a lot of us. And that's the thing that I find like tough to deal with, and that I think that we have a lot of and I also feel like that's a lot of the reasons why people are fighting to stay in marriages that, you know, aren't great. In like the case of Danaya, where, you know, it would have been a lot easier for her to just divorce him right when all this craziness started for her, but because of like her programming through her religion and everything else, you know, society even, I mean, the Black community, we do pedestalize women that are married. So for her to have this man that she herself has low self-esteem, and she's like, I finally bagged this great man, and, you know, what am I going to look like divorcing him? Like, I got to figure out a way to get through this. You know what I mean? It's really a rough situation to be in. And I feel like I just felt like what concerned what she was saying, it rang true, but I feel like it wasn't as like it's more of a subconscious thing more than just like an active decision that we're making.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have nothing. I literally have nothing to add. Because yeah, if you make enough money and you know how to financially secure, you can marry for love while protecting your money. So this is something that like I've been thinking about, but I can't put my thoughts out because it's not fair for me to say it. But yeah, I do worry about sort of because of the state of the community and how I think women are reconsidering how they negotiate relationships with men. Some really tough questions about love and the romanticized version of marriage, how that's going to play a part in decision making. I don't actually know the answer, but I think a lot of the times it feels, and I agree with Law for Mentor about this, if this is what she meant, it feels like the idea of love is removed from the conversation and it seems very transactional. But it it also feels like that's where at least the Black community should be going, um, because so much of our marriages don't come with any kind of like security around like prenups, for example, or like marriage contracts that are separate from marriage agreements that are separate, where you agree certain things in the marriage. We should do away with marriage and replace. No, I'm not reading this. Thank you, AJ. I'm not reading this. Let me remove. I'm not reading that. Kay's mic is too loud compared to Themis. It's rough on the ear though, through my headphones.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, I maybe because of all the foam, because I wanted to like not have the like the popping sounds. All right,
What about
LB.
does it if I move it farther away?
No, you're fine. I think it's fine.
Okay.
LB and then Max and then Love. And then we're done. Oh, we're at the 2 hour mark. Actually, quickly, sorry. I don't want to keep Kay over time.
It's okay. I'll let them go. I'm going to drop off.
Oh, no, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Why?
No, you've been here very long. Please. I'll drop off
Because
too.
I'm long-winded and they deserve to talk.
All right, so what I'm going to do, someone said this. Themis, did we do away with the bell? We haven't. I still have it. And we will, for the call-ins, we'll give everyone a minute for the future show. Everyone now has a minute. All three of you have a minute. Go ahead, LB.
I just pretty much I came up to say one. I don't know why it's stuck on my mind, but I keep thinking like decenter marriage. And that sounds so horrible, but because I come from a Christian background, they don't want to hear me say that. But I don't really like I've never understood why people would get married other than like for like stability. Like I only see it as a contract. I don't see it as having anything to do with like romantic love. And I don't know if that's because I'm non-religious now or like I'm like for Kay, you're married, right?
Yeah.
So for your marriage, like you feel like it's partially, at least partially love based. I'm not saying that there's not love, but like saying like, of course there's other things you consider, but you think love is like a foundational thing in your marriage, right?
Yeah, love is a huge part of it.
But like, if you had to pick one side or the other that more so like made you want to be married to your husband, I'm assuming husband, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So like what like when you consider the things that made you want to be married to your husband, do you think that love kind of like weighs heavier than those other things, or do you think it all is like a balance?
So for me, love is very important in a marriage for me. Love is not the only thing needed to sustain a marriage. But for me, I would never marry someone that I don't love. Like for me. Now, some people maybe, but for me, that wouldn't be.
Because like I'm just thinking like if you're already if the love exists before the marriage and there are no like for people who aren't benefiting financially or like with as far as stability, like having pretty much like the quick form of all the things that you would have to fill out in form contracts over if you were single but wanted people to be responsible for you or intertwined with you legally. um Sorry, today's been a long day. But like I don't see why you would need like if you're not combining things like if combining things legally isn't a priority and you already have the love, then why is the marriage necessary?
For some people, it's not. And a lot of people have been together for a long time and aren't married. People do that all the time, right?
I'm like at a point where I'm just like, I don't even want to be in a relationship.
People do that all the time too. I mean, anything
Yeah.
you want to do, you can do. You don't have to get married. You can get married. You can stay single. You can whatever you want to do, go ahead and do that.
Also, if there is an after show, because like I know my minute's up, but if there is an after show, I did want to talk about the whole. It could be another day too, but I wanted to talk about the whole the girl that had the complaint about the married man at the park with the children or whatever. Yeah, because I had thoughts on that, but I don't want to keep you guys too long.
All right. I think we're at Max. Go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear
Hello,
me?
you have a minute. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hi guys. Hi chat, everybody. Kay, I love your hair.
Thank you.
I don't want to ramble nonsensically, so, and I only have a minute, so I just wanted to sort of piggyback off of what the last caller said about marriage being, contract partnership, blah blah blah. Love not being the main thing. I totally agree with that. Um, I am married, and that love wasn't the main factor. It was that I had. I mean, of course, obviously, love is there, but love was there because I had found my person. You know, and I thought the person that I could build with, that I had trust with, that I respected. I was also much older, wanted to be a parent, and having seen my single friends go through their hardships with being parents, I didn't want to do that outside of marriage. So actually, I think one of my main things was I wanted to find somebody who was going to be a good partner with me in terms of parenting. So that was my main thing. I think part of the problem I see when I look at younger people now is women sort of, twisting themselves into pretzels to fit the dynamic of this person that they're with or to make it work because we've been sold this bill of goods about marriage. Oh, we need to have it. For whatever reason. And I guess because so many of us aren't married. I don't know. I don't know what that is about. I'm sure the church has a lot to do with it, whatever. But bottom line is, where was I going with this? Yeah, I found my person, somebody that I could build with, and that was basically it. I went into it really not from a romantic standpoint, and that might sound awful to other people, but it's been 21 years, so something's working.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
I think it all depends on how you look at love too. So, like, do you see love as a feeling, or are you one of those people that thinks love is all these other words that is not like commitment and loyalty? Like, all those things aren't like the definition of love. So it just depends how you view love as well. But yeah, I'm glad that everything
Exactly.
for you.
Sorry.
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
no, you're exactly right. Like I said, I think you have to find your person. And the problem is that a lot of women, like I said, are trying to they meet somebody and then like somebody else said earlier, they are looking at every relationship as the potential marriage, forever relationship. And men are just dating to date. And we really need to have that mindset. Everybody that you meet is not going to be for you. And you have to realize that. And really, at the end of the day, the reason I say I found my person is because my pain threshold is set very, very, very low. So I've got a group of standards and expectations and whatever for myself, and those have to be met. So I wouldn't consider going into a long-term relationship with someone who didn't meet all those expectations. And
yeah,
I want women to think more like that. It's about you at the end of the day. Can this person fit into what you see or what you envision for your life? Don't try and twist yourself into a pretzel to fit into whatever traditional roles or submissive roles or whatever it is they're looking for. It has to fit your life. Because if you're looking at this as a long-term thing, then you're not going to be happy unless you're happy. Do you know what I mean? Unless it
Yeah.
really works for you and what you want out of life. And that sounds selfish, but that's the way it is.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Latour, love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so
That was
thank you.
So I'm with Max. What she said about not contorting yourself like a pretzel. I've been married twice to the same man. Very similar to the Danaya story, but I also just got out of a relationship where I am trying to love a person. You know, you can love somebody, but love is not enough to sustain a relationship with someone who doesn't fit in your lifestyle. Just kind of like the same situation with um, the Ebony K. Williams situation, where you're trying to actually elevate someone to your status or into your life. You're trying to bring them up to a level, and they're wanting to be in your lifestyle, but they just don't fit. You know what I mean? So you may love this person with all your heart or whatever, but they just don't fit. So they may not be your person, and it may be something where you're just like, you just can't love them enough to get them to um level up to where you're going in life. You just can't bring everybody with you. Just like friends, sometimes you have to know when to let them go, right? So same thing with partners. You can't love a partner enough in order to make that your person.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a wonderful night.
You have
Production inquiry is in timeout.
pretzel.
All right. Concern says she was saying choose better. Thank you, Concern. Heads up, she's saying choose better. Oh, that's not what I heard, but apparently that's what some people heard. Thank
Yes.
you, Concern. And thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Have a good night. Wait, can I say one more thing?
In the after show.
Oh,
Oh, you can do it now.
no, I can be after a little. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
I don't know what song I just reenacted, but the one thing that I was just thinking while listening to the callers was that, you know, I think that the part where it becomes sticky or where people get confused or end up in situations they don't want to be in is thinking that just because you love someone that they are going to have or will have all of these other qualities that don't necessarily um, equate to what love in and of itself is. So just because you love someone doesn't mean that they're going to be loyal, doesn't mean you can trust them, doesn't mean they are going to be nice to you all the time. Like, you have to look for those things separately, in my opinion, because you can love somebody that doesn't treat you well. So you can't just be blinded by the love aspect. You have to also say, all right, you know, the love is there, but is everything else there? Are the other things that I'm looking for there? Because if you're just going off of love, you can still be getting treated horribly and be in love with somebody. And that will not.
Yeah, no, that's a great note to end it on, except I can't end it on that note because Ron DeSantis just announced that he is running for president. So we are now in election season in my mind. And I need a Republican and like a Democrat and maybe a libertarian and a centrist. I need some people on the political spectrum to come forward. I will send out a link in probably the community tab because we need to be covering the election and we need to find a way to do it. I had an outline about how I wanted to approach the election if it came. Um, so I need people, I need the correspondence. We're going to do this into a new segment. I want to do it on Fridays on my live stream as a segment. I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. All right. So I had to announce that because it just came through. And yep, politics, here we come. Um, Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye. Think about if you want to join as like a correspondent. You get mud water.